Hi ladies, it's Sadie here again to do another training video with you guys. And what I'm going to talk about today is something that I feel very passionate about. It's about staying motivated in this business. And I think that this is so crucial because in this business, there are going to be times where you're going to lose that motivation or where you're going to feel like quitting because maybe things slow down or you're seeing other people succeed and you're not. So there's gonna be times that that's gonna happen. I cannot promise you and tell you that it's not because I know from personal experience that that does happen. So what I'm gonna talk about is what to do when that starts happening, how to even stay out of that mindset, and certain other things that you can be focusing on to help you keep going. So the first thing is what can make you start feeling like that? What's gonna make you start feeling like you wanna quit? Maybe it's that someone on your downline is succeeding more than you, or you're watching your upline succeed and you're not going quite as fast, or maybe your sales have slowed down or your recruits have slowed down. Maybe someone has been giving you so many no's that you don't feel like you can keep going. This kind of stuff is going to happen in this business. You have got to almost learn to have somewhat of a thick skin to where if people do tell you no, or if they don't want to sign up, or if they don't want to do a sale, that you can just say, okay, next, that's okay. I'm going to move on to the next person. And Leslie Boyd Bradley, who is our vice president, is really, really good at teaching this and saying that it's okay to say next. You don't have to dwell on the person that says no. You don't have to think that you're not doing something right. Some people are just not going to want to move forward with you, and that's okay. Just move on to the next person. Now, when you start filling in these ruts, it's so important to keep going. And I can tell you from experience, which I will tell you my personal story in just a minute, but I can tell you from experience that it's so important to just keep pushing forward. I have seen so many girls in this business that have just given up way too fast, and they even had downlines and they had team members, and I know from experience that I've watched them and they regret it. And what starts to happen is as soon as you quit, all these things start to happen and the business blows up, and all of a sudden they're like, what the heck, I shouldn't have given up. And so even though it might seem like a hard time for a minute, there are better times around the corner. And if you give up too soon, I promise you, you're going to regret it. And I can promise you that the top people in this business have all been in the same place as you, and the only thing that sets them apart from the people that have quit is that they've just had the will to keep going. No matter what they go through, no matter what trials, hardships, anything they go through, they've had the determination to keep going, and it has paid off for them because they're now at the top of the company. And I know that from talking to them personally. So having that dedication, that determination to push through anything you're going through, I promise will pay off. The biggest thing that happens in this company that I have found, and I again know from personal experience, is that a lot of girls compare themselves to each other. I know there are girls in this business that join and they grow very, very, very fast. And there may be people in the company that are not growing as fast, and maybe people are ranking quicker, or they're hitting fast starts, or they're earning cars and trips, and you may be thinking, well, what am I doing wrong if these people are going so much faster than me? You can't compare yourself to other people. Everybody has different lives. Everybody has different connections. Those people might have just had a very big connection to an end, like maybe they were in a sorority, or maybe they just have a really big neighborhood of women, or they're in a church where there's a lot of young girls that are going to do this. You can't compare yourself to the journey because you're not going to have the same friends, the same connections, anything. And everybody's going to grow at different rates, and you cannot compare yourself. And I can't say that without knowing that that's harder. It's easier said than done because I have actually been in that same boat, which I will talk about. But what starts to happen is, I've said in previous videos that you move towards what you focus on. And if you're focusing on other people's success, and if you're focusing on their numbers and their victories, yours will start to drop. And I've watched this from personal experience. I have that graph in my back office, and one month I was so focused on my upline success and other friends in the business who were just killing it and moving so quickly. And even though I was moving quickly to some people, I still was comparing myself to those moving faster. And I just started focusing so much on what they were doing. And I lost sight of my own team, my own success, my own numbers, and they plummeted. They dropped for a month. And once I saw that, I was like, what the heck am I doing? I need to wake up. I need to focus on myself, focus on my team. They're doing amazing things. I'm doing amazing things. And I can't even recognize that because I'm so focused on someone else's success that I can't even recognize my own. So even though it may not be the same success as someone else, celebrate your own victories. Make yourself feel good for the things you're doing, and you will continue to grow. You're nurturing yourself. You're not beating yourself down, and you're not telling yourself you can't do it. You're not telling yourself that you're not as good as these other people. I'm sorry, my phone is ringing. You're not telling yourself that you're not as good as these people. You're telling yourself that you're better than yourself last month. As long as you're growing and you're doing things better than yourself, that's all that matters. You do not need to focus on anybody else, or else you will start to plummet, I promise. Now, I saw a picture during the Olympics that I thought was really, really cool. And there's a picture of these two swimmers, and they're in two different lanes. And the swimmer that is ahead, he is just focused on going forward, and he is just looking at that finish line, and he is going for it. And the person that's in the second lane, who's in second place, is looking over at the guy that's winning. And what it said is, winners focus on winning, losers focus on winners. And I cannot tell you how true that I think that is. If you can just focus on your own goals, focus on your own finish line, and know what you're working towards and work towards that and not look at anything else, you're gonna get to that finish line faster and you're gonna feel better about it. But if you're focused on all these other things, you're not gonna succeed the same. And the little things that you're doing that mean so much are not gonna mean anything to you, because you're gonna say, well, all these other girls are doing better. And that's not fair to yourself or your team that have worked really, really hard to achieve these victories if you're not even recognizing them. So that's my biggest piece of advice for you. I'm going to give you my own personal story, and I'll kind of condense it so it's not too long, but I just want you guys to understand that you may see people who you think are succeeding, and they may be having the same struggles mentally that you are, and you wouldn't even know it. So I just want to tell you my own personal experience so that you can understand that. First of all, when I first found Lip Sense, I found it at an expo. I had never heard about it. I tried it at What Women Want here in St. George, fell in love with it, and at the time I had just gone through a horrific breakup. I had just had to move home from Vegas and move in with my mom. I had $0 to my name, literally, and I was scared to death because the career that I had left in St. George, which was working at Paul Mitchell, was done for because the school had closed down. So I had nothing, and I was terrified because I wasn't trained in anything else or knew even what to go do. So I started looking for jobs, and I couldn't find anything that was gonna pay enough or that I was qualified for enough, and I started just really tearing myself down. And like I said, I had no money to invest in anything. So I found the company, and I thought, I could really sell this stuff. And when I found out it was such a low sign-up fee, I was like, I'm just gonna do this for a little bit and kind of build this up until I find a job, and then I'll be fine. I started out and I was like, I'm never going to build a team. I'm just going to do sales. But, you all know that as you start doing sales, people start to want to join you anyways. So it just started growing. But I built this business on $0. In the beginning, for like the first 4 months, had no money to do orders. I literally would just have to post videos on the couple of colors that I had and do comparison videos, do application videos, do as creative posts as I could, go live, generate as much interest as I could, step out of my box, boost posts, and I made sales. And what I would do is I would get enough sales that I could place an order, and the money wasn't coming out of my pocket. I didn't have the money in the beginning to run a business, so I had to do it solely based off of customer sales. So if you're in that same boat, again, don't let that discourage you. You do not have to have a ton of money to do this business. That should be the last thing that should discourage you, because I know from experience, 100%, I had no money to start this business. That should not discourage you. There are other ways around it. And if you want help on that, please personal message me, and I will help you with that. But it just ended up growing, and what was happening was I was growing at a quicker rate to where if someone was looking from the outside in, they would have thought she's becoming successful. But what was happening is I had uplines or other friends in the business that were growing faster than me. They were getting bigger GSV numbers than me faster. And even though I was having success, I could not see it. I could not see that I was being successful. I was so focused on what they were doing. And that's like when I told you my numbers started dropping, and it got to the point where I almost quit, because I am so horrible at comparing myself to other people that I was like, I'm never going to do what they're going to ever do, and I'm never going to succeed the way they succeed. And it started really getting to me. And the thing that I look back now is there are girls that were looking at me probably thinking the exact same thing. And so no matter what point you're at in this business, you're always going to have people looking up to you thinking that you're doing better. And there are always going to be people that you can look up to saying they're doing better than me. Don't focus on any of that. Once I started to realize that the thing that I could do for myself and my team was to just focus on us. I wasn't doing myself or any of my team members a service by what I was doing. And I swear to you guys, the second I started focusing on me and my team, and I started training everyone and supporting everyone and really, really focusing on our numbers, our team excelled. And I can't say that that's going to happen for everyone. I don't know. I can only tell you my personal experience, but I know that when I started getting so discouraged to the point that I wanted to quit, that was the only thing that kept me going, was just knowing, okay, I have to focus on this. And now look what's happened. Look at the organization we've built. Look at this incredible team that we have now. And I know of multiple other girls in your guys' uplines that have gotten so close to quitting. And if you look back and just think what would have happened if they would have quit, none of this would be here. And I'm just so grateful that I never did quit. And I'm so grateful that there's girls on my team, even on my downline, that have gotten so close to quitting that never gave up. And I just want you guys to know that it's so normal to feel that way. It's so normal to feel discouraged, and it's so normal to feel like you want to quit. We've all gone through that. But the biggest thing I can say to you guys is just keep going. Stay motivated. Step out of your comfort zone. Think of creative things to do to get yourself out of your rut. Reach out to your uplines, get motivation, get their support, and then focus on yourself and your team, and I promise you guys will soar. Thank you so much for listening to my personal story. And again, if you guys have any questions or any concerns, or if you ever get into these ruts, please know that you can go to your sponsor or you can come to me, and I would be more than happy to help you guys out of that rut and focus on certain things that are important, like your own victories that you're having. I hope you guys have a great day. Thanks. Bye.